Hello, Sonia Favaretto and Guilherme Fagundos. You're from the BM&F BOVESPA, the Brazilian Stock Exchange. Could you tell me why you're here at the COP? Who would like to take this?
Yes. We came here to launch a stock index that has been developed together with the Brazilian Development Bank and the Brazilian Stock and Futures Exchange. This stock index takes into account the GHG emissions of the companies, which comprises the top 50 most liquid companies traded in the Brazilian stock markets. Okay, so when we balance the portfolio, which means how much participation one company has in the portfolio, we take into consideration how much of greenhouse gas emissions they emit. And the objective of this is to develop an index that's going to evaluate the performance of a portfolio that is less carbon efficient, less carbon intense, or more carbon efficient than a benchmark portfolio. Okay.
So what stage are you at the moment?
Well, we just launched the first portfolio 1 week ago, and we are very happy with the compromise about from the companies, because the index is a voluntary action, in fact, and we have nowadays the majority of the companies inside the index. So the next portfolio will be launched in 1 year. Every quarter we rebalance the portfolio based on liquidity. But we rebalance the portfolio based on emissions only once a year. So the time now is announcing the new portfolio, recognize the companies, because it's very interesting, it's very important that the 50 most liquid stocks in Brazil is compromised into disclosure their GHG emissions. So this is the stage nowadays.
And what controversial results have come out of this?
No. The big point is that we adopted an evolutionary approach, okay? Because we for the companies to participate into this event, in this index, they need to do their emissions inventory, okay? And in the beginning of the stage, we are not considering every emissions of the company, as we call scope 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we are considering direct emissions and indirect emissions only up to the level of logistics and business travel. So
not suppliers?
Not suppliers at this stage, okay? Because we don't believe that companies are ready yet to report this sort of emissions. But the idea is, as the index evolves, like in the second and third year, we are going to enlarge the boundaries so that we incorporate into the index some sort of emissions from suppliers. So that's the idea, to have an evolutionary approach. So this is important to enable companies to engage now in climate change issues.
No, I would like to say that the key point for us is that Brazilian stocks exchanges is concerned in order to impulse the companies go in a low carbon market. You know, that's why we created this economic instrument. We strongly believe that this is the way, and we need to bring the companies with us. And the good news is the companies are so concerned also. So this is a very good news. And in fact, we have another index. 5 years ago we launched a more broad index, the sustainability index. So this is a new one, focus on climate change that we need. We think this is a very important action in Brazil, also around the world.
What about the companies that don't look particularly good on the index? How do they feel about what you've done?
The reception was amazing. All companies were very interested. For sure, sometimes they were worried about the participation in the index, because some companies are more intensive in carbon emission, but all the time we explain it for the companies that we need to look at the forest, not the trees. I mean, we need to see the movement, because we are in a moment that we need to change the way we do business, the way we manage companies. So we all the time talked with the companies about this. See the movement, see how we need to have you with us in order to create this new world. So I think we are very happy with the companies. For sure, you have some issues in order to that we need to deal, but I think it's okay.
Yeah. And it's important to see that this instrument is already making companies to engage themselves into the climate change areas, because we see them to making their GHG emissions inventory. Just for you to know that in the beginning of the process, we had just 1/3 of these companies reporting their emissions. Okay. And now, launch the index, we have 100% of these 42 companies reporting their emissions, either by an emissions inventory or by an estimations that we made and they accept and they validated. In the second year, they are going to do an emissions inventory. So it's happening already. And this is one sort of initiative that we call bottom-up initiative, local initiatives, that it's an example that the private sector can help the countries to engage and have commitments, let's say, related to climate change. So that's the way we can help.
Yes, and I would like to point that last COP15 in Copenhagen, we announced this portfolio. Here in COP16, we are announcing the launching. So it's good, because I think Brazil can contribute for the worldwide movement, and we are very happy with this. We worked a lot during the year with the companies, doing so many meetings with them and audiences, and we could to launch here at Cancun.
Have you met with any interest from other countries who want to do something, other stock exchanges that want to do something similar?
Yes, we had, for example, the Mexican stock exchange in our meeting when we launched. They are very interested. So I think it's a good example in Latin America and around the world.
Yeah, this is very important to say also that it's a very pioneer initiative. We just have a couple of indexes in the world that takes into account emissions, carbon emissions to balance the portfolio, okay? But this is the first one in Latin America. And also, it's important to say that it's going to transform, to result in concrete products for the financial market. Because some investments, some asset managers, they are going to launch funds, investment funds, that are going to be tracked by this indicator. So in a way, the investors, they are going to ask the companies and induce the companies to report their emissions, because they are just going to, let's say, invest in these companies in a way if they report their emissions. So it's a way that, like, as we say, either consumers or investors, they are important players to induce climate change in the companies, okay? So it's really happening.
No, I just would like to say one difference from our index from another one. It's an inclusive index. All companies can participate. We don't exclude companies at the first moment as some index do. So it's possible everyone, companies independent from their high level of emissions, all companies can take part. I think it's very important to say this, because some indexes around the world are different. They excluded more emission companies, right, Guilherme?
Yes. Yeah, this is important, and also we are really going to the talking to the companies. When we structure the indicator itself, we made many public consultations with the companies and discussed the methodologies and see if they were ready to report their emissions, how they could do it. So it was a very, in this way, inclusive and participative initiative as well.
I look forward to catching up with you in a year to see how you've got on. Thank you very much.